Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Tomorrow night on the program, Bill Hauser is back. Yes, the man of the Ghost Box. We are going to be doing a live Ghost Box session starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern time at spacedoutradio.com. So make sure you have your pen and notepads ready for tomorrow night. We also want to welcome in everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. We are also live on The Fringe FM, and if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Head on over to revolution.radio and donate today. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Baccalaureate. Baccalaureate is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as Bill sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Now, if you want to follow us on social media, we are live on periscope.tv. We are also on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio if you want to connect live with me during the show as well. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. On Instagram, follow me at Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. We're on iHeartRadio in the United States, TalkStream Live. Tune us in on TuneIn. Download and subscribe to our shows on iTunes. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including joining the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. Rock out to some Bumblefoot. Shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Read up on the encounter online, or watch great videos from UFO Seekers, Contact TV, and so much more. Tonight, we are talking about Elvis. Elvis Presley allegedly died August of 1977. But there are people, like our guest, Richard Carson, who believe that Elvis is still alive, and his research is looking into that. Richard, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a look at the timeline in regards to this. So we know the alleged death took place on August 16th, 1977. Now, you conclude that he went into hiding due to why?
At the time, right before he told the world he died, the FBI came and told him that there was people who issued contracts out on his life, and he was going to get killed if he didn't do something. Elvis knew that if he just disappeared, that these people, the Weathermen Underground, the Italian Mafia, the Black Panthers, people that he was helping put away as a drug enforcement agent, they would come after his family to get to him. So he had to do something to fool these people, or else he would be putting everybody, not only his own life, he would put his family's life, his friends' life, all in danger. So with the help of the government, they helped them disappear, pull this whole fake death thing off, told the world that Elvis Presley died. Originally, they were going to bring him back around 3 years later, but things just did not work out. And, Elvis needed a presidential pardon to return. I do believe that last year he received this, and President Donald Trump pardoned Elvis Presley. But many people say, why did Elvis need a pardon? He didn't do anything wrong. We are told that some people say faking your death is illegal, and maybe that's why he needed a pardon. But, to be pardoned for doing something like this, I would suspect he is no longer liable for contracts, with the record companies and all that. Anything connected that he could be held liable for because he did this, I'm sure this pardon has helped him with that, all the legalities. But let's look at something else. When the fans gathered outside of Graceland to view the casket, a drunk driver drove into the crowd and killed some of the fans that was waiting there to view the casket. If he didn't fake his death, those fans wouldn't have been there and they would not have got killed. Could he have been held liable for their death? Of course, he was not responsible. He didn't do it. But maybe that is why he needed a presidential pardon. We never have been told exactly why he needed the pardon. We were only told he did. And all through the years, he would get close. And Ronald Reagan, he tells us in Elvis Found Alive that President Ronald Reagan was going to pardon him. That it would be good for our country. But then President Reagan got sick. President Bill Clinton. And I like to share something with everybody about this. But in Elvis Found Alive, Elvis tells us that President Bill Clinton was going to pardon him. And then the whole Monica Lewinsky thing happened. Now, since I've been doing my work, I have been searching for something that I remember seeing on TV with President Bill Clinton. He was being interviewed on TV, and he was talking about how he was going to pardon someone. He said it was someone that the country loved. It would be good for the nation. And they were asking him why he needed a pardon. He said maybe they were witness to something. And I think he was actually talking about the witness protection program in the interview. Don't hold me 100% sure to that. But he was talking about pardoning this person. He wouldn't come out and say it was Elvis. But at the end of the interview, when President Bill Clinton got done talking about this, he just started clapping his hands and started singing an Elvis song. And that's all I remember of it. But I've been looking for that, and I have never been able to find it. I remember watching it on TV. It was something that, for me, that memory, that proves that what he said about in the film in 2012 about how President Bill Clinton was going to pardon him if, of course it didn't happen. The president got involved with Monica Lewinsky and everything went crazy and it didn't happen. But anyway, he got his pardon last year, I am sure. You know, when President Donald Trump was running for president last year, I've shown in a video where he was talking at one of the campaigns about Obamacare. And Donald Trump just stopped. He looked out. He says, "Hey, I see Elvis out there. Hey, Elvis." And then he went on and started talking about what he was talking about again. We also see many people taking pictures of guys in the crowd at the campaigns with white beards and saying it was Elvis. This whole thing with these photos of guys with white beards really puzzles me. In 2012, I went through and documented everything there was to show Elvis Presley is alive. At least everything that I was aware of. I'm sure there's a whole lot more out there that I haven't shown because I'm not aware of it. But what I'm saying is I've shown quite a bit. That was in 2012. Since I've done this, there's really only a handful of people out there in the social media that is making Elvis is alive videos, trying to show people that Elvis is alive. And you know what? Nobody is showing the music, the clues, the evidence. They're not touching on that. They're showing pictures of people with white beards in these crowds at the presidential election campaigns and stuff, at birthday ceremonies. They're showing just pictures of guys in the crowd with white beards saying that, oh, this looks like Elvis, this is Elvis. It don't make any sense. I also see so many people believe that there's this preacher in Arkansas, Bob Joyce. They all believe that this guy is Elvis Presley. You know, Elvis Presley's 83 years old right now. This has been going on for a few years. This man in these videos that all these people are so convinced is Elvis don't even look like he's in his 60s. And the guy looks like Kenny Rogers. It don't make any sense. But what I'm getting at is I don't understand why people are not out there sharing the truth, making videos, sharing what has actually been shown to us to show us the truth with everybody they know. Instead, they're conspiracy theory. I don't like that word. They're showing us their theories, basically, like, hey, that guy out there with that white beard, that kind of looks like Elvis, so it's him. Well, he gave us a 2-hour interview to start 2012 off with. He gave us 15 songs to go with that 2-hour interview. And then 3 weeks later, he gives us another CD. And this second CD is called Continuing. They tell us that this CD is performed, the songs are performed by a man named Ron Jesse. They show us videos. And in these videos, you see this guy in the video, which is clearly not Elvis. But this guy is sitting there lip-syncing to these songs horribly. He can't lip-sync at all. I watched this video of him actually doing this. I'm expecting him to wink at you like, hey, you see what's going on here? But all this stuff has been going on. And it blows my mind why no news teams has covered this. I don't understand why no major news network has taken the interview or any of these songs and did voice analyst tests on any of this stuff. I do not understand why radio stations as well as TV networks haven't shown this stuff to the public and give the people a chance to decide for themselves if this is really Elvis Presley or not. To me, if you listen to what this man tells you in this 2-hour interview, of course, the whole fact that they have hid this from the people proves that it's Elvis. Because, you know, if it was somebody out there trying to make money or just trying to fool people, then you would think everybody in the world probably would know about it by now. That 6 years later, I could go out in town and tell somebody that, hey, Elvis released a 2-hour interview in 2012 and 2 CDs. And then if these people haven't seen this for themselves, they probably would laugh because people don't know about it. It has been hidden from everybody. But before you break, I was telling you about an advertisement that came out from Elvis Presley Enterprises in Graceland that I found, and how they fixed Elvis, took a picture of Elvis around 2012, and they fixed him up with makeup and did something to his hair, took a photo of him, tried to make him look like he did when he was 33 years old and did the 1968 comeback special. And they put it on their advertisements and showed the whole world. You know, a lot of people look at it and they'll just say, that's from the 68 comeback special. They don't take the time to really look. And then there's a lot of people who do see that, hey, that don't look right. Something ain't quite right there. And what did they say in today's world? Most of the people who could see that that isn't Elvis from 1968, they automatically come back and say, hey, they photoshopped that. Well, I just put together a little bit more. 6 years after doing all this, I have noticed this in the past, but never quite have been able to put it together. What I have found and what I have just shown in a new video on YouTube is this is the third time that I'm aware of that they have taken Elvis Presley and fixed him up to look like he did in the 68 comeback special and published it on a publication for the whole world to see, a photo of Elvis alive and well after 1977. One of these publications is a grocery store tabloid from 1989, National Examiner. It says, Elvis sings again. And on the cover of this was in the grocery stores and stores all across America, staring people right in the face, you have a photo of Elvis in a black leather outfit like he wore in the 68 comeback special. And when you really take the time to look at it, he is not a 33-year-old man. So that's two. Now there's a third one. There was a magazine that came out in 1980, 3 years after they faked his death. Like I said, he was supposed to come back 3 years after they did this. And I do believe he did try, but not enough people paid attention, took it seriously, band together, and asked for the answers. But in 1980, there was a Elvis Country Music magazine that came out. This magazine was full of clues showing us all that Elvis did not die. On page 77 of this magazine, RCA had a full-page memorial. It's just a black page with Elvis Presley's name on it, 1935 to 1977. And that's on page 77. On page 78, there's a full-page photo that says, Jesse's coming. And that's all it is. You see, in the background, like you see the Twin Towers in New York City, it looks like. You see a shadow of three men. You don't see them. You only see their shadows. And the one in the middle looks like a shadow of Elvis wearing like a cowboy outfit or something. That's what it looks like to me. But that's on page 78. And I've been showing this in my work for the whole time. But on the cover of this magazine, once again, they have a photo of Elvis Presley that appears to be from the 68 comeback special. When you take the time to look at this photograph, look at his face, you are not looking at a man of the age of 33. You can just, after you take the time and really look at this, you can see that this man that you're looking at is much older. Now, what I've seen that they've done here was they took an actual photograph from the 68 comeback special, and they recreated it in every detail, except in this photograph that they put on this magazine, Elvis is holding the guitar. He's got his hand grabbing the neck of the guitar. in the actual photograph from the 68 comeback special, he's got his hand out pointing. Now, when you look at the two photos and compare them, the original photo was taken from a distance. And when you zoom in with your computer and everything, the resolution isn't that great when you really get looking at his face. Because it was a distant shot. But the photo on this magazine, the resolution's great. And they even got the curl of his hair going the same way. And you just have to take a look at these two photographs side by side. And you can see this in this new video that I just published today on Knights of the King's Realm. But they have been doing this the whole time, showing us that Elvis is alive with these photographs of him after 1977, passing them off as pictures from the 68 comeback special. Now, like I said, when I showed the people in 2012 what they did with the advertisement, the people that could see that, hey, this really isn't from the 68 comeback special, everybody came back and said they photoshopped it. In 1980, there was no such thing as Photoshop. They've been doing this the whole time. And this is just one of many, many things that they have been doing to show us the truth, that Elvis did not die. But let me go over a timeline with you, starting in 2008. In 2008, Fox News from Memphis, Tennessee, told the world that Elvis Presley is alive. They said DNA tests proved it, and DNA tests do not lie. And they never retracted the story. Now, Fox News covered the story from 2002 to 2008, starting with a doctor in Kansas City that claimed that he was treating Elvis. The doctor passed lie detector tests, and over the course of all those years they covered this story off and on, they showed us DNA tests from a hospital stay, a liver biopsy, I believe, and they compared it to DNA from the autopsy. The DNA did not match. Fox News showed us with that first set of DNA that the autopsy and the DNA from Elvis's hospital stay before they told us he died wasn't from the same person. And at that time, they were showing us that there was a man who went by the name Jesse claiming to be Elvis. Well, his DNA didn't match either. Now, to explain that to everybody, I'm pretty sure that probably what they did, Elvis was already a federal agent at that time, that he was in the hospital, and he probably knew that somewhere down the road they may actually have to do this whole thing with faking his death. So they just switched to DNA back then when he was in the hospital. And anyway, I think that is probably what happened and why there was 3 sets of DNA and it all came back as 3 different people. Because the man claiming to be Elvis in 2008, DNA proved he was Elvis Presley. But, okay, that's Fox News. The story dropped there. Fox News didn't mention it anymore. No other news networks mentioned it. We never heard about it again in the mainstream media. But guess what? In 2009, we got a movie called Lonely Street. And there's 3 songs in this movie on the soundtrack: When the Rebel Comes Home, Waiting, and Until It Happens. These songs were recorded by an artist that went by the name The King, that released a CD in 1998 called Gravelands. And another one In 2000, called Return to Splendor. 2005, released a third CD called Any Way You Want Me. Listen to these CDs. This is Elvis singing songs like by AC/DC, Nirvana, Jimi Hendrix. Now, they slapped a picture of somebody else on the CD, and this person they show you, his name is Jim the King Brown, and he goes to the stage and performs to these songs. I believe that he's lip-syncing in the videos. I don't know if he ever goes, if the guy filling in goes to the stage and actually sings anything himself. He could, but I believe with no doubt that who you hear on the CDs, the man that recorded the songs in the studio is Elvis Presley. But in 2009, this movie, Lonely Street, it was this man, the King, who they gave credit for doing the 3 songs in the movie. Well, they also tell us Robert Patrick, they fixed him up with prosthetics and makeup to look like an older Elvis Presley in this movie. The movie's about Elvis faking his death and years after he faked his death and trying to return to the stage and to his fans, and that's what the movie's about. But it's a pretty cool movie. But the deal is, when you go and look at all the scenes in this movie that Elvis appears in, this older Elvis character, look at still photographs from scene to scene, and it does not look like the same man. Now, I heard a story on the radio many years ago about why this is. I was told that they took Elvis at different times, like every 5 to 7 years, and they filmed these scenes way before they made the rest of the movie. They had the idea of doing this way before they actually made the movie. But they filmed these scenes every 5 to 7 years. And when it got time to actually do the movie, they took all this footage from all these different years, and like one scene, he may be one age, and then another, he may be a little younger, a little older. And that explains why it looks like different people all the way through the movie. Okay, that's 2009. Let me add one more thing about this. The United States version of the DVD that was released in the stores, when you look at the DVD cover, it does not appear to have anything at all to do with Elvis Presley. You got a picture of Cat Williams on there and a couple other people. The UK version of the DVD, it says the King is back and has the picture of the older Elvis character right there on the DVD cover. Someone didn't want Elvis fans to pay attention to this DVD. But that was 2009. In 2010, the following year, Priscilla Presley helps produce a CD called Viva Elvis, the album. They tell us that they took audio tracks and they mixed them all together and put together new versions of Elvis songs. Well, I believe with no doubt at all that Elvis recorded new tracks, such as a new track for Suspicious Minds. If you listen to, I believe it's Heartbreak Hotel, you can clearly hear Elvis, and he sounds like an older man, starting the song off by going, whoa, 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 something like that. He just recorded a lot of new material for this CD. They put it all together with some older material, and they said it was remixes. If you look at the videos, the Suspicious Minds and the Burning Love video from the CD, you see what I believe to be an older Elvis Presley in the shadows moving around. Now, in the CD booklet itself, there's actually a photo of what I believe to be Elvis Presley on stage. And they kind of got him wrapped around bungee cords. This Diva Elvis was also a circus, Circus Soleil show in Vegas. But they had a picture of Elvis on stage during this show in this CD booklet. That was 2010. And Priscilla helped produce this CD. So you hear an older Elvis along with new versions of the songs on this CD. You get a picture of Elvis in the CD booklet, and in the videos, you see what appears to be Elvis in the shadows. Okay. 2011. 2011, not much that I'm aware of, came out. Well, we were told that Johnny Hara died. Excuse me. A lot of people believe that Johnny Hara, Elvis went out and performed as Johnny Hara throughout the years. I've never been able to put all that together yet. Maybe Elvis could show up and help me. And I can show how they did all that. But I do believe that Elvis went on the Merv Griffin show many years before, and he went on as Johnny Hara. And also, he very well could have went on the Bill Bixby special in 1990, went on as Johnny Hara. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe he probably did go on these shows, and he went on as Johnny Hara. But in 2011, we were told Johnny Hara died. Okay, let's get where it all begins and gets really, really cool. In January of 2012, we get Elvis Found Alive. 2-hour interview on a DVD. We get a CD by the same name with 15 new recordings. It has Wanna Be Starting Something by Michael Jackson, got a police song. They took some clips from the interview and made a rap song. Some stuff like Heartbreak Hotel and That's All Right Mama, new versions of that. There's a Garth Brooks song, The Dance. There's a video on your YouTube right now. Basically, Garth Brooks tells you Elvis is alive. I guess he would know if they probably had to get a hold of Garth Brooks so they could do one of his songs for the CD. But there is a video where Garth Brooks basically comes out and tells you Elvis is alive.
Right. I want to ask you a quick question about Elvis Found Alive, because on IMDb, which is kind of the source for all entertainment news and movies and everything, they are saying that this movie is a mockumentary spoof of Elvis theories and is not about anything to do with the truth or anything like that. So how do you take information from that, from a mockumentary, and turn it into what you honestly believe?
Okay. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Let me try to answer you and give you an idea of what I believe they did here. First of all, by any chance, have you seen this film?
No, I have not.
Okay. Anybody, any true person that's a fan of Elvis Presley, you sit down and watch this 2-hour interview. Tell me what kind of spoof this is. What makes it a spoof? What makes it a mockumentary? Because at the end of this 2-hour interview, you're just in awe. There ain't nothing funny. There ain't nothing silly. They're not mocking anything. They're not no spoof of anything. You're just like, wow. And then you listen to the music. And you're like, I've seen grown men who will sit there and tell me for a very long time that I'm wrong, Elvis died, and they'll listen to a couple of these songs, and these grown men start crying. Okay, why did they call it a spoof and mockumentary? At the time that they put this film out, They could not tell you Elvis Presley was alive.
I get that.
He didn't have his pardon.
I get that, but the director Joel Gilbert says it's a mockumentary. He's the one who made the film.
I'm trying to explain this, sir. What they did, they had to tell you that. They could not tell you it was real. They could not tell you Elvis Presley is alive in a way where they're telling you it was real. They had to say that it was a spoof, a mockumentary. But if you read the description of the film, it tells you Elvis is back telling you his secret history. And the description, besides this whole spoof and mockumentary line that they included, is very serious. See, they had to throw that in there because if they didn't, they would be going against what this whole deal that Elvis couldn't do without this presidential pardon. There was a way to get around that. They were able to reach out and give us the truth without coming out in a way to show us that he is alive for sure. But that explains, at least this is why I believe without any doubt, that's why the whole spoof and mockumentary is there. But like I said, when you watch it, okay, I will tell you this. The first 15 minutes of this film, supposedly how they found Elvis before the interview started, I believe that's all make-believe. Joe Gilbert's there, and they show him in his office, and they're getting FBI files, and they track him down at his house and all that. I don't believe any of that's real. But when that 2-hour interview starts, and that man starts telling you his life story, that film takes a complete turn. And at the end of that 2-hour interview, you'll have to watch it again just to make sure that you didn't dream it. It's that real. But here's the key. Here's what I said earlier in the very beginning. You have to also be able to put the pieces together, put everything together. Elvis Found Alive was only one piece of the puzzle. 3 weeks later, he releases another CD called Continuing. And in those videos, they're telling you Elvis is back. He's alive. Now, they're also telling you it's a fantasy, and they spell fantasy wrong. And they telling you that this guy who can't lip sync very well, looks like he's getting ready to wink at you, he's singing the songs. But if you look at all the artwork and everything, they're telling you Elvis is alive, and he's getting ready to come back. Now, that was 2012. And then, right after the release of that, after we got Elvis Found Alive and Continuing in the beginning of the year, that's when Grace Lynn and Elvis Presley Enterprises took that photo, fixed him up to look like he did at 33 years old, and gave it to everybody on their advertising. But they didn't stop there. They also changed their advertising down at Graceland up on their signs and on their brochures to Elvis Lives. Now, that was 2012. In 2013, David Letterman on the Letterman Show, he kept trying to get the truth to come out. I remember during Elvis Week, he had 5 impersonators on his show, one each night, and each one got up there on stage and lip synced. And when you look at all 5 of these performances, back to back, by 5 different men, you can tell it's the same man singing each song. These guys are only lip syncing. And actually, during one performance, the Elvis tribute artist turned to the camera and started wording the wrong words. Okay, somewhere else around 2013, besides Elvis Week, David Letterman had Cher on his show. And they pulled off the skit basically told us Elvis is alive. They were talking about Jimi Hendrix. David Letterman asked Cher, what do you think Jimi Hendrix would do if he was still around? You think he'll still be getting it, kicking it, referring to playing music, I suppose? And Cher just stopped and looked at him and said, you know, sometimes the best thing you could do for your career is die. And they both started laughing, and David Letterman's like, I've been trying to get him on the show. So all during 2013, and before Letterman quit, he was really trying to show people what was going on as well. He wasn't able to come out and do it for whatever reason. But they've been dropping all these clues. But that was 13. There was also a magazine that came out in the stores in 2013 that said The King is Revealed. It also has a picture of Elvis from the 68 comeback special on the cover. 2014, we get a different kind of clue that was kind of weird. There was a Christian faith film called The Identical. Now, this film is based on, I believe, Elvis and his twin brother, Jesse. And a lot of people misunderstood this. This message in this film is, if he is in your dreams, nothing can stand against him. They're referring to Jesus, to God. But in the film, it shows that the twin brother was given away at birth. I believe that because of this, so many people thought Elvis's twin brother, Jesse, was given away at birth, and that just is not true. For everybody out there who believes that, that really bothers Elvis, I'm sure. Jesse was Elvis's most important one. Jesse, his twin brother who died at birth, and Elvis Presley's mom, was his world. He lived for them. He felt guilty his whole life, we are told, because Jesse did die at birth. And I'm sure it really bothers him that many people spread these stories about how Jesse is still alive. It just is not true. But anyway, I do believe the film The Identical came out, and it was a Christian faith film. That was 2014. Now in 2016, we got President Trump running for President of the United States. And like I said, during one of his campaigns, and I show it in the video, I actually show the whole campaign speech from that night as well. He basically tells us Elvis is alive by saying, I see Elvis out there. Hey, Elvis. That was 2016. But also we got the very first movie on a new network called Access TV. This movie is called Elvis Lives. And it is based on Elvis Presley faking his death. And that came out in 2016. I do believe that 2017, our president pardoned Elvis, and Elvis was going to come back last August. He told many people he was going to do it. But I do believe when the time came, he just wasn't ready to do it. This man's getting ready to step on the world's biggest stage. When he comes out of hiding and tells the world the truth, everybody is going to stop what they're doing. Their mouth's going to drop, and they're going to pay attention to this man. And he's going to have to explain why they lied to the world in 1977.
We only got about 7 minutes left with you here, and I want to get through some questions quickly here from me and the audience. Number one, does his daughter Lisa Marie know that he is alive? And if not, why not?
Oh, I believe that Lisa Marie and Priscilla both know that Elvis is alive. I've actually shown video clips where they basically give you little hints of that as well.
All right. You say that the media is hiding this. The media doesn't really play that game. I know that from personal experience. So what do you mean by the media is hiding this story? Because I can tell you right now, every reporter in the world would love to break this story to find out concrete proof that he is alive.
I've been showing the concrete proof for 6 years on Knights of the King's Realm on YouTube. All you got to do is put the pieces together. It's there.
So why doesn't he come forward then?
I do believe he's ready to do it, and he will do it this year. I mean, if he don't, I'm going to be here next year doing this as well. But I have been told, and I have no doubt, that the truth is coming out in 2018. Now, why does the media do this? To hide it? Well, one thing, do you know our last president, Barack Obama, was mentored by Bill Ayers, one of the leaders of the Weatherman Underground. And it was that man, when Elvis became a federal agent, his first assignment was the Weatherman Underground. And Elvis tried to put Bill Ayers away for all those years. But he actually did it, and they let him go twice. And because of the connections that Bill Ayers had with Barack Obama, as long as Barack Obama was in office, they did everything they could to prevent the truth from coming out. And yes, even our president today tells you all, fake news. 9/11, they lied to us there. The news media is corrupt. They lie to us and lie to us and lie to us. This creates an age of deception where everybody out there believes these lies, that it's not really their fault. They were told this. They believed it because the people that we trust lied to us. But what this has done in our world, it has created an age of deception. The Bible tells us that Jesus is the truth. The only power that the devil has over mankind is the power of a lie. Now, when the world believes these lies, the devil and his fallen angels are stronger.
True that.
And you can see this in everyday life. We see these school shootings all the time. You take God out of our schools, what do you expect?
Well, I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of difference, and I don't really want to get into this because we only got about 4 minutes, and we could open up a whole Pandora's box here. But I'm going to disagree with you that there is a difference between an Elvis connection and school shootings. And
no, I'm just telling you, a spiritual connection that is in our world today.
Oh, I
That's
see
what I'm telling you.
Okay, so in the last few minutes that we have with you here, why you? Why do you think you were chosen to bring this message forward and to have Elvis talk to you at your restaurant that you work for the last 11 years?
Well, I do believe this is the work that God chose for me in my life. Why did Elvis come to see me? I had already been doing everything I can in the social media for 1.5 years before he showed up at my work. I'm pretty sure he came in as a way to say thank you. Gave me my own sighting so I could tell people I got to see him. Why me? I believe God chose this work for me for the purpose to wake people up. When Elvis Presley comes out of hiding, when that day comes, everybody's going to It's going to throw everybody for a loop, and they're going to rethink stuff. And this, I believe, is going to be the end of people believing these lies, the beginning to end this age of deception that the world's elite has created in our world today. You know, there was no connection, like you said, no connection between Elvis and the school shootings, but there is a spiritual problem in America today. Jonathan Cahn has showed the world in his work, The Harbinger, and The Harbinger Decoded, what America is facing. People need to put God back in the way of the American life.
I get
because
that.
Because if we don't do that, it's going to be over, and the day's going to come, and it's going to be too late. But we can have an awesome future if we just put our faith back in God.
Okay, we got 1 minute left. We got one.
Sure.
We got about 90 seconds left here with you. I need you to get your YouTube video channel out there so that way we can, let our audience go in and check out your videos and see your information, because it is important that they get an opportunity to see the work that you've been doing online.
All right. The YouTube channel is called Knights, like medieval knights of the King's Realm. Knights of the King's Realm. And you will see song after song that Elvis has been putting out, not just since 2012, but going all the way back to 1978. The man never really went away. He has been releasing music one way or the other the whole time. You'll see evidence, proof. You will also see lots of other truths that I have shown in my work. In 2012, I documented everything I could about Elvis Presley. I was showing everything I could. That was my documentary that took me a whole year to make. He didn't come back in 2012. I wanted to do more. At that point, you basically could say I started doing what I was doing, not about Elvis, but I started doing it with Elvis. But the YouTube channel is called Knights of the King's Realm. And please check these videos out and share them with everybody you can. I could sit here and talk all night, and you won't necessarily have any reason at all to believe me until you look for yourself. Don't
Wonderful.
be one of these people that sit there and say, I don't have to look. I know what I remember. I know what I know. Be one of these people who take the time and look.
Thank
and
you.
You won't be sorry.
Richard,
all right, thank you, Dave.
I do have to let you go here because I got to go to break, but thank you for being on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Really appreciate you filling us in on Elvis still potentially being alive. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
We got The Preacher coming up in hour number 3. We continue to talk a little bit of conspiracies coming up next on SOR.